After you know the starting point, so we will go to the next one. We will create a real bank account class. So we start with control shift P to create a new Java class, and I put the name of the class to be the bank account. Don't forget that we will use the common case, and because this is a class name, so we use the B starting point to be the capital letter. Okay, so this one is bank account class, and you can see that there are like suggested keywords like interface, enum, record, abstract, and interface here. We'll talk about this later. The idea here is the simplest one, so we will use the bank account. As I mentioned in last week, the bank account, you can think that the idea of the bank account is like it must have its own member variable, right? Or you can think that this one is the like the member data, something like that. So there must be like the ID of the account, right? So you have to think about this first. Because in Python you don't need to know the type of the variable, but in Java, because it's more like you have to design, you have to be more like use more structure. So I will start with the type of the variable ID first. So the simplest one is like you can use the ID to be an integer, but there's another thing that you have to think about that. Do you want to encapsulate this? Do you want to protect this one from other class to be directly accessed? So if you allow other class to call this, maybe you want other class to be like, okay, it's fine. Look at this, public integer. Okay, so account ID. So you start with the account ID here. Okay, so it's fine. It's fine if you write something like this and you don't put any other thing here. So if you like omit, or if you don't want to provide the explicit the constructor, you can leave everything like this, and Java will create the simplest constructor for you. The simplest constructor for you is public bank account, and no parameters. No parameter. That's all. Okay, so if you write your program like this, and in like any other example that is not the object-oriented class, it will allow you to like use public, and in the Java test, it will be like very easy. So I will start with using the bank account. I will use the name like A1 is new bank account. This is the syntax that you can create a bank account here. This is it will create the real bank account, and use A1 to be the reference to this object. Okay, so then next you can use A1 to be like set the ID, account ID to be 1001, and then print system.out.print A1.account ID. So save it and run. So you see that it will correctly print this one, but this is the correct way to allow other class like bank account test to directly assign the account ID to this object? That's your question. Is it good? This one is fine. This one is fine to get the account ID. This one is fine, right? Because, okay, sometimes you have to use, or other class must be able to use the account ID. So guys, but this is not the good practice to allow other class to directly assign this account, because sometimes you have to be like to make it like more, or you want to use some format with the bank the account ID. So for example, sometimes you have to use like some strict format, like the ID must have 10 digits. So you have to check the account ID here if you want. Okay, so this is the starting point, that it don't get any parameter from outside. And if you use something like this, you have to provide other constructor that allow other class to set the account ID. But the problem is here, this is the one that you have to like to protect from other class, that you should not allow other class to directly create or change it. Because if you want to change it, maybe it will change in correct format. For example, you have 10 digits, so no, you cannot. Okay, so this one, it will be the account ID. So we will protect this to be private. Okay, so once you protect this to be private, it has the warning that the values of this field is not used. Okay, so no worry, we will use it later. This one is the private one. So you can like, now other class cannot use it. So you can see that it's turned red here, and there's some error that account ID, of course, you cannot, is not visible. It used the word visible. The idea is it like other class cannot use it directly. So you have to protect this account ID using private, right? So now the next idea is, you have to think that, do you want to allow an account object without the ID? This one is very important. Do you want to allow an object of the bank account to be created without the account ID? This is the question. If you don't want to allow it, you have to force other class to send the account ID from outside. And then you can assign it to the account ID. But before you assign it, you have to check that if this one is like, if you want to check it, for example, like 10 digits first, so you have to turn it into a string. So the idea the easiest way to turn this one into a string is use the empty string plus account ID, or use account ID to string that fine. But we've used this one. This one is a string. It will be a string already. Look at this. For example, if you have another thing like if you want to comment everything out, you can select it and use the control and slash, so everything will turn into the comment. So guys, if you have an integer x, for example, x is 10. The way that you can turn x into a string is string s is empty string plus x. So once you run it, you can see that this one is fine. Okay, so this is the way that you can turn this one into the string. So I will show, I will like use it like an example of how can we use Java. Okay, so this one is the account ID, and then the way that you can find the length of the string is use explicit method dot length. This one is the method of the string not equal to 10. And because in Java we have to use like this is the syntax of if. Okay, yeah, this is the way that you can use the exception. But because I want to make it easier, so just print system.out. The account ID must be 10 digits long. That's fine. And won't set the ID. If you want to follow these videos, this X colon is not the Java source code. It is like the guideline to like the parameter guideline. Okay, so please don't use X colon here. So if not, print it out, and else account ID. But the account ID, they are same. Like if you use account ID is equal to account ID, for example, to account ID. For example, please don't forget that for all statements in Java, you must end it by the semicolons. So this one we like the ambiguous, that we don't know which one is the account ID from outside, and this which one is the account ID that is the member variable. So the idea is you have to use this keyword to make that, okay, we will use this account ID to be this one, and this account ID to be the parameter of this method. So guys, this is the constructor. Okay, like maybe if you follow the source code without watching the videos, of course you won't, maybe you don't know the intention, that what, how, and why we use this to be private, why we have to design it to be like to put the parameter here. Okay, So the other things is like you can provide something else. The one that is the account name. For example, you may want to use account name. This one is the name of your account. And again, do you want to allow it to be empty? Can we use only ID and name without name? Or can you set it later? Something like that. Okay, so one thing that I forgot, sorry. Before we can use this one, so I would like to remove it first. Okay, we go back to the one that I forgot. This one is the account ID that you created without the object. So all of the account objects in your program must have the account ID, right? And the one is like this one is the correct one. So this one will if you think about the design, if the ID is not correct, it means that the ID is still not right, still not correct. So you have to check something else. The way that you can do it is print and ask the user to put the exact 10 digits ID again. But guys, the best way is not like this. The best way is to throw the exception that the tab 9 suggests us. But you have to use something in Java. For example, you have to get the new ID from the keyboard. So guys, the way that you can use the keyboard is very like a little bit long. So you must have the class scanner. Scanner is new scanner. I use the name to be keyboard. New scanner, and the correct one should be system.in. Okay, this is the way that you can declare the new scanner. And this is tab 9. It asks to be like get the account ID from the keyboard. We use next int to get the integer. So I will use it. Please enter a valid account ID. Okay, that's fine. Okay, get it? But in this case, if you want to, because you must get the 10 digits, right? So sometimes you have to use while it's not 10 digit. You have to repeatedly get it again. And you can see that, but this one is like the easiest version. So we will like make an assumption that the user must re-enter the invalid account ID. So you can see that we have the red underline here. So this one is a problem. So we don't have the scanner class here. So you can ask the Visual Studio Code to quick fix, and it will suggest you to use import scanner from java.util. So this one will be correct. Okay. So guys, now it's already done. It's already done. So we have this already, and so you can see that here the account ID, you cannot access this one, so we won't set it here, but we will set it here. For example, this one 2 3 0 0 0, maybe one check digit, and this is the number of account, and this is the year of account. So this one is, so if you use your arrow key on the keyboard, you will like once you go to the left, and it will go directly here, because account ID is like the suggestion that okay, this one will be the account ID. Okay, so you cannot directly access this one, right? Okay, so you have to, normally when you design the private one here, you have to decide that okay, you won't allow other class to be able to directly access. So if other class want to get or want to set this account ID, of course many times we think that account ID shouldn't be changed after you create it. So you can use, so you won't allow other class to be able to set it. But sometimes like this one, so sometimes other class should be able to access this one. So the best way is you have to provide, we call it the getter. So public, this one, you have to provide this method as the public one for other classes to be able to call it. So this one, we won't use account ID anymore. We use the get account ID instead. So that's fine. And guys, there is one error here. This is my intention that I want you to see. This one is 10 digits, but integer in Java, it is 32 bits long. So 32 bits long is 4 billions, around 4 billions. So it's not 10 digits. So if you want to use account ID to be 10 digits, there are two ways. The first one is change it to be long. For example, look at this. I change this one to be long, so it can be 64 bits integer. So this one must be long also. Okay. And if you change it to long, you have to change the return type of the getter to be long. So now everything is fine. And everything is fine. Okay, so now I think now everything is fine here. Yeah. Okay, so I run it. Okay. This one is like not next int. It must be next long. It must be next long. Okay, and to make it like to force it to be long, you can use L to be like the to make the compiler know that this one is the long integer. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So this one is the integer, the one that is 2 3 00018 with 10 digits. So it's correct, right? Okay. So if it's not 10 digits, if it's not 10 digits, when you run it, look at this. The account ID must be 10 digits long, so please enter a valid account ID here. So you have to provide it. Okay. So this one will be like parse this one, and you set this one, and this one must be this account ID. Okay. So because if you set account ID to be that one, it will be like this. This one is 0. Okay. So guys, I would like to save it, and run it again. Okay, so I run it again here. Okay, it must be 10 digits long, so I will add it. Yes, now it's correctly be able to run. Okay, guys, that's all for this clip. So you can see that I like to conclude that we change everything, and I introduce you many things relating to Java. So after this clip, so you have to be able to use the private correctly, and we write here the getter. Okay, and we can use the keyboard, get the data from the keyboard. That's all for this clip.